It was a snake skin, everyone. Look here. That's the head. That was actually hooked on by the head. Massive. This is the two scales over its eyes, the scales on top of its head. This was its bottom jaw, where its bottom jaw was, and then its body was here. Now, this is a fairly long snake. I unfortunately broke it on the tree when I undid it. Now, have a look here. There. That is a big snake, and this isn't even all of it. So from the bonnet, let's measure it on here from this side. So from there to here to there, plus a piece of the tail probably about this long, so probably about to here, so as long as this. That was that snake. Looking at it, it's really difficult to tell what snake it is just by looking at this. I don't know my snakes well enough to be able to see or tell you what snake's head that comes from. It looks like it could be it's big enough for one of the cobras or a mamba. It definitely looks like a cobra or a mamba to me. That pattern of the scales on its lips and on its head here will be able to help you identify, or help us identify the snake for sure. Maybe what we can do, it's awesome. My road, your music. You want to know how long it takes for a snake to shed its skin, or how big it needs to get in order to shed its skin? Basically, it depends on the amount of food it has and the environmental temperature. Given an endless supply of the right size food and a very warm temperature within that snake's metabolic rate, it'll grow and shed its skin once a month. Given poor areas and where it can't find enough food, it'll only shed once a year, maybe even more than that. So, or maybe even less than that. So it all depends on food and environmental temperature, to be honest. But as quick as 3-4 weeks, if you feed it underneath controlled environments. What I'm going to do here is look and see. So what I want to do with you, if I can, is go here. Blind snake, thread snakes, boas, no. Cobras. So let's go to the cobras, 106. And snouted cobra, which you find over here. Thick snake, 17 to 19 smooth scale rows at mid-body. And so what we do here is we go to mid-body on this snake, which will be, where's my other piece of skin gone? Here. So mid-body on this snake, and we count the scales in a row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 scales on the dot. Alright, so that's 17, and now we go to mambas. And I want to have a look at the mamba, which is also this big, and let's see how many scales they have. Excuse me. Come now, where are you? Mambas. Now, because I'm trying to go fast, of course. Excuse me while I just do this. 110. It's actually just over the page. I could have done that easily. So black mamba and scales in 23 to 25 oblique rows. Yeah, so I think it's definitely the snouted cobra. So if I were to guess snouted cobra, and let me see if I can show you a picture of a snouted cobra. Plate 20. Here we go. That one and that one. Snouted cobra. Scary looking thing, hey? Ooh, you can see the thick scales on its head there and the thick scales on its lip. Let's see if we can see that. So hold tight. Let's put our snake. Let's do this. So behind the eye, we've got this scale here. That scale is this one here. And then two smaller scales here. Behind the eye, creating a space. This one goes down to the lip, and then on the lip, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think that this is a snouted cobra, just judging from all of these that we're seeing here. So, very cool. Alright, so now we know where a snouted cobra lives, which is quite nice. Come back here and react to birds giving alarm calls. Awesome. That was actually quite a lot of fun. Thank you. I'll put that in my snake book and keep it there. Thanks everybody. And now we're going to send you over to Jamie and we're going to carry on looking for something else to show you. Ciao.
I wonder exactly what snake it is that Steph has found. I remember having an experience with him discussing the mamba skin that was brought back. So I wish him luck in counting the various scales. It's actually quite fun to do. I've really enjoyed doing that, is figuring out which snake it is from counting the scales. It's easy with cobras and mambas and so on. It's much more fun when you get the little snakes. But maybe it's just one of those things I enjoy. So we thought we'd stop quickly, since it would be very sad indeed if we didn't take time to stop and stare and enjoy the sunset. Beauty is plain to see. Haha. Plain to see, get it? Because it's the plains? No? Okay. Fair. Chandra laughed. Thanks, Chandra. It's good to have the backup. Oh, there we go. We're going to look one more time. I think that's a very good idea. Since it appears to be devoid of life here. We've done the swap we needed to do. And we're all sorted out. Gremlins General, I think I've seen some spectacular sunsets here. I've seen some spectacular sunsets in South Africa, but the scenery here is really truly gorgeous, and especially I've noticed. Hi guys. Here goes the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust people, the vet unit. That's pretty cool. The skies here are really gorgeous, and especially at the moment with the build-up of the storms in the distance, it creates these really impressive cloud formations. I've never been particularly good at spotting things in clouds. My mind is a little bit too literal for that. Even as a child, I struggled to see shapes in clouds, but that one looks a little bit like a flying saucer, a spaceship. Oh, yeah, Alice tells me that Brent has got another pretty sky. I have to be honest with her. Given that we're both in the Mara Triangle, I'm pretty sure we both have the same sky. But let's go and see whether his view is better than mine.
There we go. It is a beautiful sky from a slightly different angle through a little copse of ebony trees. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Now, we're going to head west at the moment. And one of the things we've been doing today, which has been really fun, is taking the roads we don't often get to take. Or we haven't been taking because we've been looking for the wildebeest and that. So it's been quite nice meandering through areas we don't meander through too often. And of course, one of the wonderful things about that is you literally have absolutely no idea what you could discover on your meanderings. Now, I still haven't seen or heard if anyone knew what a BSK was. So I'm just waiting to... Oh, we have lots of responses. Well, Elaine and many others, apparently it was far too easy for you. Indeed, a BSK is a black-shouldered kite. A beautiful little raptor, very fond of open grasslands. So they do eat little rodents and things like that, but the majority of their diet is actually made up of insects, such as big grasshoppers and locusts. And that's what they end up eating a lot of. There we go, another bird for the birders. One that we would have seen at Djuma as well. And it has a call that sounds like someone being naughty on a bed with rusty springs. It is a Koki. Manu is chuckling. Taylor's chuckling as well. The Koki Franklin, and their call is it sounds like some vigorous movement on a rusty bed. But they are very, very pretty and quite shy and retiring, so it's quite nice to see one out in the open. We don't get to see a lot of the Franklin species too well here because of the grass, and they just burrow into it just like that. And you can see how they disappear so quickly. Now I have asked Tristan to be keeping an eye for me. Let me just... Sorry, I just got reminded that there's a school drive in 15 minutes. We will not be speaking about rusty bed springs then. Okay, now I can hear them. I'm just trying to see them now. But I asked Tristan to keep an eye on there, so we're going to try work out when some of the migrants arrive in the Lowveld. There they are. They're on top of that tree there. We might not get the best visual of them, but so it's another load of European bee-eaters. They're hiding in the thickets there. I can hear them calling. So when the first ones passed was about... There they are. Oh, well done, Manu. Excellent. So they're roosting here, and they will spend a day or two, sometimes up to a week in the Mara, collecting and feeding as they move down south. But I estimated probably... What is the date today? Today is about the 4th or 5th of October, I think. I don't know what the date is today. That's the lovely thing about doing what I do. I don't need to know what the dates are. Just where the animals are, where the birds are. So let me try and work it out. I think it's early October. So I say the first bee-eaters should be arriving at Djuma between the 20th and the 25th. Now, it all depends. It's never exact. It all depends on what they're feeding on as they move. So if there's been big storms in the southern Serengeti and there's lots of insects, they might spend an extra couple of days there. The same goes as they pass through Zambia. But yeah, I say between the 20th and the 25th, we should have European bee-eaters at Djuma, and we might still have European bee-eaters here in the Mara that are still on their way south. Not all of them go all the way down. There we go. But they're done for the night, and they're going to be snoozing before, well, probably hanging around. And, well, maybe the first ones have beaten past us and we didn't even notice. So I think we must go ask the winter farmer whether he's seen any European bee-eaters either at home in Hoedspruit or on Djuma since he's been back in the Lowvelds.
just to answer Brent's question about have we seen European bee-eaters yet? No, we haven't. But it would be very interesting if Brent has seen those bee-eaters for the first time today. Mark today, and let's see when the bee-eaters do arrive. And it'll be interesting to see how many days it takes them to get down here. I predict about 4 days. 4 days to 5 days for them to get down here. Let's see. Well, no, wait. Let's be realistic about this. So they can do about 80 kilometers a day. It's 5,000 kilometers by road from there to here. So let's take it down to 3,000 kilometers divided by 80 a day. No, it can't take them that long, surely. Let's put some names to it. I don't know. Let's say 12 days, 12 to 15 days, and then those birds are going to be here. Let's see what happens. This is very pretty, by the way. There's a lot of moisture in the air at the moment. A lot of clouds. The sun now setting behind a cloud bank, with the tree in the background and some clouds over it that I can't actually see from where I am. It's too bright. Almost looks like Jupiter's great red spot, that, hey? Watch how fast the sun is sinking behind those clouds. Count for yourself. You'll see a couple of seconds and that sun will be gone for today. Less than 10 seconds, in actual fact. And we can see a sunset. Makeup, you want to know what's the rarest bird I've ever seen, or what's my favorite bird to see on safari? They're two different ones, and gone. My favorite bird to see on safari at the moment is a secretary bird. It does change from time to time. I'm prone to change my mind, but right now it's a secretary bird. The rarest bird that I've ever seen is a twin spot. Let me see if I can show you what one looks like. I mean, excuse me, not a twin spot, a fluff tail. 97. So that is the rarest bird that I've ever seen here, is that little fluff tail. I saw it in the Limbombos. And the bird that I like seeing the most at the moment is the secretary bird, which I'm going to show you now. 162. That's the bird that I like seeing the most. The secretary bird, which there are a lot of in the Mara, and hopefully maybe Brent can help me out by showing you what one looks like in the flesh. They're quite rare here where we are now, but they're definitely a common bird in the Mara. You see them all over the place. Beautiful birds. So that's for now. As summer progresses, my favorite bird then moves to a violet-backed starling, which is another very beautiful bird. And I quite enjoy them. They're just super colors. Now, my friend Brent is able to see the moon from where he is, obviously at sunset on a full moon night. The moon and the sun, moon rises, sun sets at exactly the same time on a full moon night, and that is it tonight, and Brent's moon has just risen.
Well, yes, I'm claiming this moon. Thank you, Steph. Steph, it's my moon. It's no one else's moon. No one else can look at it. So no one else can look at it. No one else can look at it. No, I'm only joking, of course. So isn't that absolutely gorgeous? As Steph is 100% correct. It is full moon this evening, and you can actually see the craters. Now, contrary to popular belief, everyone seems to think on full moons the predators head out and murder and mayhem all the poor little prey animals out there. It's actually the most difficult night for the predators to hunt. So that ambient light created by the moon gives a lot of the prey species much better vision, and they are able to avoid a lot of the predators. But here we go. Oh, the bird flew through the moon. Well, where did this wind come from, you vile wind? It just started blowing. Can we get a bit closer, Manu? Look at those impact craters that, on the moon, especially the one down to the bottom right, so where a meteorite is whacked into the moon. That one looks a little bit more recent than the others. Well, Alice says that we should be listening to Harvest Moon by Neil Young. I think we should be, what was that? Ballyhoo. Who saw the whole of the moon? I think the name of the song was Ballyhoo. Was it Ballyhoo? Too late, too far. I saw the whole of the moon. Yes, unfortunately, I'm not going to sing. You will all stop watching quickly or put it on mute. We'll leave the singing up to our hairy canary, James Henry. So, in this area, we might get the sausage tree pride. Let's go again with that one. Sorry, Alice. So we've got a question coming in. The comms broke up a little bit. That is quite a good question. David is wondering, does full moon ever confuse the birds or insects? I'm not 100% sure. I know it does confuse baby turtles. When they hatch, sometimes they start heading away from the ocean because if the full moon is in the wrong spot. But I'm not sure if it confuses. Actually, I lie. It definitely confuses the odd dove. When it's the bright moon outside and you're lying in bed, very nice and cozy, especially in the winter months, and you know you've got a good another 2, sort of feel like you should be sleeping for a lot longer, and then you suddenly hear the first idiotic Cape turtle dove, and you think, oh goodness, it's time to get out of bed. You look at your watch and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Horrible doves. But no, so it can, I think it can do, but I know it definitely does confuse baby turtles when they hatch. Like if you ever are lucky enough to see a turtle hatching at night, you must be very careful where you shine your light, because they could get very confused. So the reason is that they normally look for the reflection of the moon or stars or just reflection off the ocean, and that's what they go for. So in a lot of places where people have built houses and developments right on turtle nesting beaches, it's a bit of a problem, because the turtles then head towards the light or the reflection of the houses rather than towards the ocean. So I know lots of people work very hard. There's actually a wonderful gentleman I met. He does safaris to the Mara, but he is from Mombasa, and on the areas of beach that are very well lit where the turtles nest, they spend a lot of time and a lot of late nights during nesting season picking up the poor little turtles and sending them back in the right direction. Oh, it's Impala. Sorry. So it's lovely sort of half-light at the moment where you got to sort of really double check everything that you spot with your eyes. Now, the only thing we haven't seen today is the leopard. So, who knows? Oh! Just to the Cokie Franklin quickly. Speeding up. And there we go, you can hear the sound of a Cokie Franklin. And yes, Alice, I know there's a school drive coming. There we go, done. Carrying on. Okay, so we're going to keep seeing what we can find and stay away from jokes about creaky bed strings. We're going to go across to Steph back on Djuma and see what's happening that side of the world.
Well, we just want to say welcome to Mark West Elementary and all of you that are joining us for this afternoon's PM safari, or the sunset safari as we call it. The sun is unfortunately set already, but we are going to see a delicious moonrise. Now, I know you're only 9 or 10, but do you know what night it is tonight from the moon? I'm sure you can guess. It's full moon tonight, exactly. And what happens at full moon? At full moon, the sun sets and the moon rises at exactly the same time. And we're going to see and watch that from here. Hopefully, it's going to be coming up. I hope it doesn't hide away behind too many clouds for all of you. But who of you can tell me, where do you think we are? You are joined by myself, Steph, today, and by Brent, and we're coming to you from 2 places in Africa. Do you know where we're coming to you from? Yes? Maybe? No? We're coming to you from South Africa. That's where I am right now. And Brent, my friend, is coming to you from Kenya, which is in the middle of Africa on the equator. And they are 1 hour in front of us. Now, that sounds a bit weird, but they are 1 hour in front of us. And it's because they lie, if the earth is round like my steering wheel, they lie further east of where we are, and so they are moving away from the sun before we do. That sounds a bit weird, that, hey, moving away from the sun before we do. But that also means that they're going to get sunrise before we do as well. Now, what are we looking for? Now, I know that you are sitting in California right now, which means you're even further away from Brent than what I am at the moment. See if you can find out how many time zones you are away from Brent, who's sitting in Kenya, and you can count them and see how many time zones you are away, how many hours Brent is. I suppose who would be in front of you or behind you, just depends on which part of the globe you're from. What are we looking for today? We're always looking for something exciting. Now, there could be an elephant around the corner, there could be lions around the corner, there could be buffalo around the corner. I'm going to a dam just in front here where sometimes there's a hippo that sits and lies there, and almost always animals come to drink at this time of the day. Whoopsie. Bumps, 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 bumps. Now, Brent's got a special toy to play with on his car, and he's dying to show it to you.
Hello, Mark West Elementary. Lovely to have you on your very own safari. Now, my special toy that Steph is talking about is really heavy. It is my special homemade super spotlight. And you can see how bright it is, and hopefully with the super spotlight we're going to find you some really cool little nocturnal creatures. Maybe we'll find some hyenas, maybe we'll find some lions, maybe a leopard. Oh, you never know what's out here. Now, did I say? Yes, I did. I think I said nocturnal creatures. So I want you guys to tell me, and you got to tell your teacher what nocturnal means. So if you know what nocturnal means, tell your teacher. I want to know who gets it first. Let me know, what does nocturnal mean? Okay, let's carry on. Let's see what is out here. We're looking for lions and hyenas in this area. And you never know, we might find a leopard, we might find an owl, all the nocturnal creatures. Aha, there's a hint there. Hello, Gail. Gail would like to know, how long have I been in Africa? Gail, my whole life. I was born in Africa, I went to school in Africa, and I've always lived in Africa. My ancestors came to Africa in 1820, so my family has been in Africa for nearly 200 years. Oh, what have we got? It is. Is that what I think it is? Oh, it's a black rhino, guys. This is really exciting. This is one of the rarest animals in the world. There are less than 3,500 in the wild. And it is a black rhino. I know it is quite dark. Let me see if we can see him there. There we go. Hello, Mr. Rhino. Now this is the young male. I've seen him around here quite a bit. I'm just going to help Manu a little bit. Let's put the light a little bit closer to him. There we go. Hello, big boy. Oh, little boy, actually. He's quite young. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? Now, they can be quite grumpy and quite dangerous, so you got to be careful around them. And with this very, very strong wind that's blowing, and the wind is going from him to me, so he might get a little bit upset. So I'm just going to keep my distance from him, and I say we're not using the lights too much. There we go. We're going to go into infrared instead. So those of you wondering, we're using special infrared lights that enable us to see in the dark. Isn't that cool? That's another one of the special toys we have. Hi, Nolan. Nolan would like to know, what do rhinos eat? Now, Nolan, the black rhino is a browser. And what that means is I know this one. It's got no tail. I've seen this one quite a few times before. It eats leaves and branches, Nolan. But there's another type of rhino called a white rhino, and it only eats grass. Now, they're not really black or white, so there was a lot of confusion, and that's how they got their names, and I'm going to tell you how now. So the proper name for a black rhino is a hooked lip rhino. So he uses his hooked lip to break off branches and grab leaves, and a white rhino's got a very wide, flat mouth that he uses for grazing. So, the rhino's running away. There we go. He's suddenly smelt us. He decided he's out of here. Bye. Doof, doof, doof. But so, what happened is, when the first European settlers, or the first Dutch settlers arrived in the Cape in South Africa, there were black and white rhinos there. But they spoke Dutch. They were from Holland, and they called a black rhino, they called the white rhino, there were no black rhino around the Cape, a wit mond renoster, which means a wide-mouthed rhino. Now, when the English came next after the Dutch, they went, well, what is that called, you know? And they went, it's a wit mond renoster. And wit and wit. Wit is white, wit is wide in Dutch, and they got confused and they thought they meant it was a white rhino. So these ones unluckily just became black rhino because the other ones got misnamed white rhino. But we are going to keep seeing if we can find any kitty cats or hyenas. But while we do that, Jamie has got a super moon to show you.
Absolutely amazing moon this evening, and I know that Brent and Steph and myself have all stopped to look at it, but I just couldn't resist showing you this moon one more time. It really is stunning. It's also making Gendre work very hard because the wind is howling, which means that our entire car is rocking as the wind blows here in the Masai Mara. Lovely to be joined by the kids at the schools today. Welcome, my name is Jamie, and this evening Gendre is on camera with me, so that's pretty much all you'll see of Gendre is his thumb. And we're going to go and search for some exciting nighttime creatures to show you. I agree with Brent, the possibility of a lion or a hyena, but who knows what else we might find. Jackson, you want to know how many animals might we see? Goodness, I think we're going to see lots of animals. So out here in the Mara and in South Africa, in these wilderness areas, the place is absolutely teeming with life. So we could, and remember, animals isn't just something big and scary like a lion or an elephant. Animals can mean birds. We could find some of the nocturnal birds like a nightjar. Let's see what we can find for you this evening. So you'll see I'm using a spotlight, and that is the way that we find the animals out here in the dark. And it's really, really easy to do because the animals have reflective layers in the backs of their eyes, which means that the light shines back and you can see them really clearly. It seems that Steph has beaten us all to it. Let us race back across to South Africa because he's got something very big that likes to come out at night.
Look at this huge hippo that we found in this dam. Now, hippo kill more people in Africa than lions do. Look at that big mouth. Wow. Amazing. They open up their mouth like that, not because they need to eat trees or boulders the size of mountains. They open up their mouth like that specifically to fight. Males joust with one another and push against one another with their mouths. And the male that opens up his mouth the biggest and pushes the hardest, he wins. Isn't that amazing? Hold your arms out like a big hippo mouth and then push your hands together and see exactly how hard you can push against your friend. That's what hippo do. Now, Madeline, you want to know how big hippos get? Madeline, hippos can weigh up to 4,000 pounds, and even the biggest hippos go bigger than that even. So 4,000 to 5,000 pounds is big. It's like the car that you were dropped off in school today. That's how heavy these hippo are. And their teeth, their bottom teeth, you saw how big their bottom teeth were? Their bottom teeth can be as long as my arm. Can you imagine? A tooth as long as my arm. And they have two of them that look like this at the bottom, and then two straight ones. And they push against one another and they try and hack one another with their teeth. And that's how they win the competitions. Now, he's gone underwater there now. You can see that he's almost completely disappeared. And that is because they can hold their breath. Now, Avery, you wanted to know how long can hippos stay in the water for. Now, they stay in the water during the daytime when it's nice and hot, and at nighttime they come out of the water to eat grass. They spend between 4 and about 6 hours or so outside of the water eating grass, and then way before the sun comes up when it's still dark, they come back into the water, and they spend the day in the water. Sometimes they'll come out and they'll lie on the sand and suntan, but most of the time they spend in the water. Now, the whole time we've been talking, he's been underwater. A hippo can hold his breath for 7 minutes. That's a long time. There he comes up, blows some water out of his nose. But for 7 minutes, a hippo can hold his breath. And when they're born, they can hold their breath already for 40 seconds. Isn't that amazing? So a newborn baby hippo can hold their breath for almost a minute. Now, you can do yourself do it in the class. You can time it. Hold your breath and see if you can hold your breath for 40 seconds. It's near impossible. I know I can't do it. Now, this is a male hippo, and he's alone because he's not old enough yet to have his own pod of hippos. Now, Lily, you've asked how long do they feed for? Lily, they feed for between 4 and 6 hours in a night. Oh, sleep. Excuse me, Lily. How do they sleep for? Lily, they sleep for... It's difficult to say because hippos sleep just like this. They sleep under the water and then they bring their head up. I'd say a couple of hours a day. Between 4 and about 6 hours a day they'll sleep. But, of course, it's difficult to judge because sometimes hippo... When you drive past, they'll be sleeping under the water. You think there's nothing here, you drive on, you don't time it. So I've never really timed a hippo sleeping, Lily. But I would imagine it's around about, anywhere from 2 to about 6 hours a day, I would think. Have a look at his eyes and his ears. They're on top of his head so that he can do exactly what he's doing now and keep the rest of his body in the water, just lifting his eyes and his ears and then his nose. All on the same level. Did you see that when he went under? It was all on the same level. They just eat grass, that's all. Now, Tara, you want to know how many babies a hippo can have? Tara, a hippo can have one baby at a time, usually one baby at a time. It's not uncommon for them to have twins sometimes, but most of the time it's just one baby. One baby at a time, once a year, and they are pregnant for 8 months, almost the same time as a human is pregnant for. So they're pregnant for eight months. A baby is usually born outside of the water in some thick bush, like in the background over there. Born outside the water, they'll spend a couple of hours to a couple of days, not very long, outside of the water, and then the mom will bring them back in and introduce them to the rest of the family. Whereas this male's family, he doesn't have one yet, and it's because he's still a young male. When he gets a little bit older, he'll go to the closest river where there's some other hippos, and he'll go fetch himself a girlfriend or 2, or even 3 or 4. And that's right, they are polygamous, which means that one male can have a pod of several females, rather than monogamous, which means they only have one female. Now, who of you know what is the hippo's closest relative? See if you can guess it. Is it an elephant? Is it a rhinoceros? Is it a tortoise? No, it can't be a tortoise, eh? A hippo's closest relative is a manatee or a dugong, and next closest is a whale. Can you believe it? So hippos are closely related to whales and dolphins, and not to rhino and elephant. How amazing is that? Let's see if he shakes his ears for us to get water out of it. So just like you and me when we're swimming in the swimming pool, water goes into our ears, they shake their ears. I wish I could do that. Oh, Riley, you've asked me a question. How many hippos are there in Africa? Is he going to open up his mouth? Come on. No, come on, come on. Don't yawn under the water. We can't see your teeth. Come out. No, what are you doing? Why only do that? Riley, how many hippos are there in Africa? Oh, good question, Riley. I don't know the answer to that question, but there are some places that have lots of hippo. A place like the South Luangwa National Park in Zambia has 80,000 hippos in one river. 80,000. That's a lot of biscuits to have with your tea and your coffee, if you think about it. I don't know how many hippos there are in Africa, but definitely not millions upon millions. They are threatened. They don't occur in areas that are not protected anymore. It's very rare to find a hippo that is living outside of a game reserve or a national park. Generally speaking, they're restricted, and that is because hippo and man are in conflict with one another. They're in conflict over the same resource. The grass that the hippo loves to live on is the same, grows on the same sand that people like to farm crops on. And when people take the grass away to grow crops to feed themselves, the hippo's got no other choice but to eat the crops, and then the man and the hippo fights, and we all know what happens there, is the hippo comes off second best. But people have got to eat, and so we have game reserves where the animals live undisturbed. We don't farm inside here, and the hippos live here and are very happy to live here. This is just one hippo. Like I said, he's still too young to have any girlfriends. Now, who knows how long they can live for, these hippos? Take a guess. Is it 5 years? Put up your hands and see if it's 5 years. Is it 10 years? Put up your hands and see who's at 10 years. Why do we times that by 3? Is it 30 years? Any takers for 30 years? I think we're getting closer now. Is it 40 years? Any takers for 40 years? All right. Those of you who put your hands up for 5 years, you got it wrong, unfortunately. Those who put up your hands for 40 years, you got it right. So 40 years. That's how long a hippo can live for, sometimes up to 45. But 40 years is what they can live for. That's as old as me, you know. And I'm about as bald as what that hippo is. The hippo and I share something in common. We've both got big ears, although I can't flap mine, I wish I could. And we are both bald on top of our head. Other than that, I suppose if I turned my head like this, then I'd have my eyes and my nose on the same plane. All right. We're going to send you back over to Brent, 3,500 miles north of where we are in Kenya, if you haven't guessed that just yet. And he's on the search for some nocturnal creatures for you.
Hello, welcome back, Charlie. Sorry, I haven't found a lion yet, but I'm really trying. Hopefully with our super duper spotlight, we'll be able to spot one, Charlie. So I hope you're watching very, very carefully. Now, there are often lions in this area. The Sausage Tree Pride, that is the name of the pride of lions. So I'm having a quick look here. The wind is starting to blow, which is actually good for a lion when it's hunting, because the other animals can't hear them coming and can't smell them if they're coming the right way. But another thing we often see in this area as well is hyenas. So hopefully one of our nocturnal predators will make an appearance shortly. But I do have my super duper spotlight. It's giving me big muscles because it's really heavy when I got to swing it, but it's worth it. It can see about as far as a whole football field the light can shine. Maybe even a bit further than a whole football field. So I hear you guys are from California. Now, that's a wonderful place. I've been to California. You've got very cool birds in California. And the coolest bird I saw when I was there, it was one of your turkey vultures. I really like them, but it sounds like Steph's got something really cool to show you back in South Africa. So let's jump on board with him to see what it is.
We promised you a full moon, and one is coming up from behind that knobthorn tree. And look how beautiful it is. Now, you'll notice that those dark marks on the moon are not moving. It's not clouds. Those are actually dark marks on the moon itself. Here you go. Do you know what made those dark marks? Do you know what they're called? No? Yes? Who guessed that the dark marks are called seas? People long ago, when they used to look at the moon, used to think that those were seas on the moon. Now, let's see if you think what made them. Did anyone guess that those dark marks were made by volcanoes? That's right. Those dark marks on the moon, were made by ancient lava flows when the moon still had an active core. The moon nowadays, though, is dormant, and the only thing that we can see are the remnants of those lava flows, those ancient lava flows. Now we call them seas, but in actual fact they're made of rock that came from inside the moon. Isn't that just beautiful? You can see some clouds going across the moon. Isn't that just amazing? Those clouds are obviously closer to home than what the moon is. Isn't that just lovely? See how the moon has risen so quickly, and you'll get your first glimpse hopefully now of the moon rising above the clouds. Give you a nice glimpse. Now you see that big white spot on the right hand side? Now who of you have seen shooting stars? I'm sure you can all put up your hands and say you've seen a shooting star. A shooting star is a piece of space rock that came through space, going very, very fast, and hit our atmosphere and then burned up. And as it's burning, we're seeing the shooting star going across the sky. Now the moon doesn't have an atmosphere, so there's nothing to make the space rock burn, and so the space rock slammed into the moon, and there was nothing to slow it down. and it made this massive splash of sand that now radiates away from what we call a crater. Maybe if we're lucky, you can see the crater on the right-hand side in the middle of the moon. Let's see when the clouds go. These clouds are not playing with us today, hey? They want to hide what I want to show you. It's okay. We'll wait a little bit longer and see if the moon sticks its head out of the top of those clouds. How quickly did that disappear? Brent has managed to find one of his nocturnal critters he wants to show you. Enjoy.
Well, we haven't been able to find the biggest nocturnal mammalian predator, but we found you one of the biggest nocturnal avian predators. This is a giant eagle owl, or a Verreaux's eagle owl. To give you an idea, he's probably about 70 centimeters tall. Look at that, isn't that cool? Now, he's being buffeted by the wind. Unlike the lions who like the wind to hunt, owls don't like the wind to hunt, because what happens is when the wind's blowing like this, a lot of what they eat, little rats and rodents in the grass, decide that it's not pleasant weather to come pop your head above ground, so they stay there. So he might have to wait a bit to catch his dinner tonight. And he's a very big owl, very, very big owl. Now we are still hoping to find the lions or hyenas that are in this area. So I think we'll let the owl carry on sitting up there, watching for anything to eat. Joe would like to know, are the animals hiding in the bushes? Some of them will be, Joe, some of them won't. A lot of animals, especially animals that get eaten by lions and stuff like that, will actually do the opposite. They'll try get away from the bushes. They'll try stay out in the big open area of grass, so they get a chance to see the lions coming from further away, so they can make good their escape. So I think I'm going to go up ahead here in a little bit. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to show you some of the animals that are hiding from the lions and the leopards and the hyenas. And who knows, maybe we'll just find a lion instead. It seems like Jamie's got the same plan as me. She's looking for the same lions, which means we've got double the chance to find them. So let's go see Jamie, who's just behind me.
It doesn't just mean we've got double the chance of finding the lions. It means that it's a race. This is now a race between Brent and myself as to who can find you the lions first. Now, I happen to know these lions quite well, and I don't know where they are today, but I know where they like to be. I think Brent might as well. Now, the question is, which of us is going to get lucky? My bet is that Brent is going to go left. I'm going to go right. I know where I'm going. In fact, let's just speed up a little bit. Or not. Don't quite seem to have the power to speed up. Okay, let's keep going at exactly the same speed up the hill, and we will find those lions before Brent does. Come on, don't turn right, Brent. Don't turn right, because that's where I think the lions are. What do you think, kids? Who do you think is going to find the lions for you first? One of us should. Brent's got a head start. He's further ahead than me. But what he doesn't know is what I know, and that's where the lions were. Admittedly 2 days ago. Oh no, he does know. Oh no, I've lost my advantage. I think I know where they are. Okay everybody, you ought to hope that Brent's gonna go left, I'm gonna go right. That's what I think is gonna happen. Oh, don't tell me he's found them. Stopped up ahead. Has he beaten me? That doesn't count. Quick, overtake to Brent.
Well, here we go. We've got a very, very cool little nocturnal predator. It's called a genet. And he's hunting for birds that are sleeping in that tree at the moment. So they look like a cat, even though they're not related to cats. They're more closely related to mongoose and raccoons. And you can see they're very, very pretty little creatures. So he's trying to find a sleepy bird to eat. They're expert climbers, and they live in hollows in the trees or sometimes in holes in the ground. You can see how he's sniffing, checking for birds. Hello, Lila. Lila would like to know, why are the eyes of the owl so big? Well, Lila, it's so he can catch any spare light. Up he goes, the genet, so you can see better at night. Now, if we look carefully at that genet and you look under his eyes, where's he gone? Up. There we go. You can see there's a little white spot under his eyes. So that white is actually designed to catch ambient light. So light from the moon, from the stars. And that makes his night vision better. Oh, he's disappeared. Let's see if I can get his eye. Oh, there he is. Up a bit. Oh, he's gone into the thickets there. Looking for some birdies to eat. Ah, there we go. Well, big jump. Oh, he's going right to the top of the tree, hoping to find an unsuspecting dove. But alas, I think he's got the wrong tree tonight. Okay, good luck on your nocturnal hunting, Janet. We've still got lions to find. Hopefully, we'll try our best, we will. Where are the lions hiding, guys? I need you all to think really good, positive thoughts that we can find you a lion before the end of the drive. And it'll be hopefully just down the road here somewhere. So while we are looking for nocturnal critters, so is Steph back in South Africa. So let's go see what he's managed to find with his spotlight.
We managed to find our moon again. We didn't manage to find a lion yet, but if there are two people that could find you a lion, it is Brent and Jamie. They are very, very good. Just have a look at that. That is a fantastic view of the full moon, isn't it? And on the right hand side you can see where that space rock smashed into the moon many, many thousands of years ago and sprayed sand almost over the entire right hand side of the moon. Have a look at the moon disappearing out of the top of your screen. That is how fast the moon, the moon isn't traveling, the earth is traveling. How epic is that? We're not moving the camera. Now, Jazara, you want to know how far away the moon is from Earth. Now, Jazara, I'm going to give you a little fact about the moon, which is going to be quite interesting. The moon is 8 light minutes away from the Earth. 8 light minutes. Let's see if you can figure that one out. I'll tell you in a couple of seconds. Sensor?
Yeah, I thought you wanted to see them.
So basically what Senzo is doing is he's showing you how quickly the moon moves out of the frame. And in actual fact, it's how quickly the Earth is turning relative to the moon. We're turning at this point about 1,200 kilometers per hour is how fast we're moving, is how fast the planet is moving. Isn't that amazing? Okay, now Jazara, I'm going to answer your question about how far the moon is away from Earth. It's 8 light minutes, which means that the light from the moon takes 8 minutes to reach Earth. So the sun shines on the moon. The moon's like a big mirror. It reflects the sun back to us from its sand on its surface, and from the sun shining onto the moon, and then from the, sorry, it's not 8 light minutes, excuse me, that's the sun's distance from here. I've made a big mistake, everybody. Oopsie. That is very embarrassing, isn't it? All right, so we'll go on to the next question. I'll explain myself in a little bit. Now, Lily, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday, Lily. I hope you're having a fun day today, and you have a fun afternoon as well. Lily, you want to know how big the moon is? Lily, the moon will be able to fit into the Atlantic Ocean. If we were to put the moon on inside our Earth, it would be able to fit into the Atlantic Ocean. And if you've got a globe on in your classroom, you can then put your fingers between North America and Europe, or North America and Africa, and you can the moon will be able to fit into the Atlantic Ocean between those two continents. Nice, hey? Now to go back to explaining about light minutes. Now, I don't know, it's a couple of seconds, but the light from the moon takes a couple of seconds, light seconds, to go from the surface of the moon to inside your eye. That's how fast light travels, but that is how far away the moon is. It's over 1 million kilometers away from where we are standing at the moment. That is very, very, very far. It is lovely, hey? All right, let's carry on with our game drive. We also got to try and find you some animals. It's dark now, and all the predators like to move around in the dark. It's windy and it's overcast where we are. We look like we're going to get some rain tomorrow, which we really need. This is our winter. It hasn't rained here for quite some time. Not any substantial rain, at least anyway. It hasn't rained here for quite some time. And we're looking forward to our summer, which is just approaching now, around the corner. What am I looking for? I'm looking, just like Brent found that little genet, I'm looking for the reflection of eyes in the light. And that will tell us that there's an animal there. And we can pick up our binoculars and we can look at what animal that is. And hopefully, it is something exciting to look at. If you want to know what we're looking for, if any of you have ever seen your dog or your cat walk towards your house in the dark and they have that eyes shining, or sometimes when you take a photograph and you see the eyes shining in the photograph, that's what we're looking for at the moment with our spotlights. I'm also looking for other creepy scorpions and snakes and spiders. They'll all come out. Now that it's nice and dark. Alright, now I know which team are you on to find the lions first. Are you on Team Brent or are you on Team Jamie? And if you're on Team Jamie, she's busy looking for the lions. Fast now, you're going to go and have a look at what Jamie's trying to find you.
Team Jamie! Woo! Thanks, Chandra. We're looking for the lions. We're going to find the lions. Come on, lions. Okay, so they weren't where I thought they were. The thing is, that's half the fun of being out here. They're wild animals. They go where they want to go, when they want to go. And sometimes they ditch us and leave us trailing in their dust. But we've still got time, and this is their favorite spot. Come on, lions. Don't let me down. And don't you dare walk out in the road in front of Brent. That has happened to me a few times. Come on, lions. Oh, it sounds as though, although he hasn't found the lions, Brent is having a lot of luck with the nocturnal creatures.
Well, yes, I said I was looking for lions and hyenas. I'm sorry I couldn't find you any lions, but I have found a spotted hyena. There we go. Hello, hyena. Oh, waking up, getting ready to go out on a night. Oh no, getting ready to go have a nap again. Napping in the road. So this is a group of hyenas is called a clan of hyenas, and this clan lives right below our camp. And hyenas in the Masai Mara do a lot of their own hunting. This clan hunts wildebeest and zebra in the rocks up in the mountains, and they even sometimes hunt something as big as a hippo. Let's try sneak a little bit closer. Jackson, hello. Jackson's wondering, do hyenas eat meat? Indeed they do. They are what we call carnivores. So that means they only eat meat. They will sometimes eat a little bit of grass or something if their tummy's upset, but their main diet is indeed meat. Now, this hyena is looking very comfortable. It's not even moving as we get a bit closer. Staying snoozing in the road. Now, out of all the predators, the predators are what eat meat that we get in the Masai Mara and at Djuma. The hyenas are probably the smartest. Not probably, they are definitely the smartest. They are very clever animals. Riley, hello. Riley would like to know how fast they are. Riley, they're not that fast. They can run faster than a human being, but what their great skill is that they have got incredible stamina, so they can keep running for very long distances. Here we go. Looks like he heard something or smelt something. Not too interesting. So you'll watch hyenas, lions, and lots of other animals will lift their nose. Even watch your dog at home. Look at that. He'll lift his nose into the wind to try and pick up the scent of whatever's interesting. Of course, according to this hyena, nothing is interesting. Okay, I'm going to try sneak a little bit closer again. Princess Hulum would like to know, have I had any dangerous encounters? Well, no, not since I've been at Safari Live. We're always very careful around the animals. We do get some interesting encounters, but fortunately we try not to get into dangerous situations, and the way to do that is we're lucky to have a very experienced team who don't let themselves get into those situations. So there you go, there's the hyena again. Nonplussed by us at all. Oh, tired hyena. You gonna put your head back down? There we go, doo-doo time. Now let's have a quick look with my spotlight. Often where there's one, there's a few more around. It seems like this one's all on his own. There are some zebra behind. We're going to leave the hyena to keep snoozing on, but it sounds like Jamie has got something you saw with Steph, but this time it's outside of the water.
It loves being out of the water at night because, of course, as I'm sure Steph told you, this is when hippos do most of their feeding. Where we are here in Kenya, we're very close to a very big river known as the Mara River. And at night, when we drive around here, we see so many hippopotamus wandering out of the water next to the road, often feeding together in quite big groups. And I see this one when I've followed and searched for the lions in this area. I've seen the hippos here. I don't know if it's this exact hippo, but I've seen hippos here regularly. They spend a lot of time around this area, munching away on the grass. So something that big only eats grass. Wonderful. I'm sorry, Team Brent and Team Jamie, neither of us managed to find you the lions this evening, but that's half the fun of being out here. If we could predict where everything was, it wouldn't be nearly as exciting now, would it? We've had a wonderful evening, and you never know, the lions could come strolling past us in the next 40 seconds, but to be completely honest with you, I don't think that's going to happen. The wind is howling. The predators will be hunting tonight, using the wind sound to hide all of their stalking. Right, it is time for us to say our goodbyes and our thank yous. Thank you so much to the school for joining us this evening. I hope you kids all had fun, even if we didn't manage to find you the lions. And thank you to Jandre for his wonderful camera work, as always. And most importantly, thank you to all of our viewers, our crew back in Djuma, and our crew up in the Mara Final Control.